Just days after making an appearance for the promotion, Ricky Starks has been pulled from upcoming GCW events with a blanket ban from All Elite Wrestling for future shows going forward. Let you know all the details on that. Plus, Grand Slam Australia has now officially been moved after low ticket sales to a brand new venue. Eric Bischoff is set for next week's edition of WWE NXT, as well as WWE Hall of Famer Sean X-Pac Waltman. Julia qualifies for the Iron Survivor Challenge at NXT Deadline. Tony D'Angelo retains the NXT North American Championship. Fallon Henley retains the Women's North American Championship. The Young Bucks are set to challenge for the IWGP Tag Team Championships at Wrestle Dynasty. Shawn Michaels gets physical last night on NXT. Ethan Page qualifies for the Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline. Confirmation of Kylie Rae receiving a WWE ID contract, and more details on Jade Cargill's legitimate injury. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with big news when it comes to Ricky Starks' planned dates with Game Changer Wrestling now being cancelled after being pulled from the show by All Elite Wrestling. There has been yet another development in the ongoing saga between All Elite Wrestling and Ricky Starks, as the former AEW World Tag Team Champion has reportedly been pulled from upcoming appearances he was set to make for Game Changer Wrestling. Sean Rossap of Fightful Select has reported that the decision was made by AEW to pull Starks from his upcoming GCW dates earlier today, that being November 26th, is actually yesterday. Now, while there are a variety of reasons as to why this has happened, one of the main reasons was down to recent comments by GCW staple Effie, which were directed at AEW President Tony Khan's father, Shahid Khan. Now, Effie recently commented that AEW decided to run the Hammerstein Ballroom during the festive season, less than 1 month before GCW was set to return to the iconic venue for the first time in 3 years. The GCW star claimed that GCW can't run shows on a $40 million deficit. The owner doesn't come from a football team, and GCW isn't run by someone whose money comes from financial and familial wealth. It is currently unclear whether or not these were the comments that caused Starks to be pulled from his dates, which were announced, and his match was announced on December 14th, as well as unannounced appearances on December 28th and January 19th. The last date being GCW show in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Now, according to SAP, Starks is allowed to work for other independent promotions. Ibo of Wrestle Purist also said that the ban on performing for GCW was a blanket statement and would apply to all AEW talent. Fightful also learned that some within AEW thought the company was to potentially turn Starks' GCW dates and his lengthy AEW absence into a work to potentially build buzz for a potential return to the company. Starks has yet to return to AEW and, as we covered yesterday in his interview with Chris Van Vliet, is still confused as to why he has been frozen out of the promotion. Now, GCW themselves did release a statement confirming that Starks had been pulled from the upcoming shows. They tweeted out, quote, "We have just been informed that Ricky Starks has been pulled from all upcoming GCW appearances, including his announced match on December 14th in Los Angeles, his unannounced match on December 28th in Seattle, and his unannounced match on January 19th at the Hammerstein Ballroom." So all of the details in that, of course, that's what we currently know. If we get any more information, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. Now, we spoke yesterday about the likelihood that Grand Slam Australia was set to be moved due to poor ticket sales, and indeed, the upcoming AEW Grand Slam show has now been downsized. Now, back in August on the All In pre-show, All Elite Wrestling announced that it would be making its debut in Australia on February 15th. The show was set to initially take place at the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, Australia, which has a capacity of around 50,000. However, with ticket sales not being as strong as the promotion had hoped, updates noted that an announcement on the show was expected soon that AEW Grand Slam would be moving to a smaller venue. On November 27th, fans who have bought tickets for the event received an email confirming the change in venue. Wrestle Radio AU posted a screenshot of the email on social media confirming that Grand Slam 2025 will now take place in the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, which has a capacity of approximately 13,000. The venue is also 11 miles away from Suncorp Stadium. At the time of recording, All Elite Wrestling have yet to make an official announcement of the change in venue for the show, but it looks like it is confirmed via people who have already purchased a ticket for the event. Of course, if we get any more confirmation on that, we'll let you know in an upcoming video. Now, Eric Bischoff Bischoff, he's on his way to NXT next week. WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff confirmed he would be live and in person at next week's NXT, appearing during Tuesday night's show to address NXT champion Trick Williams and Ridge Holland. It had been reported prior to the show that he had a video segment penciled in, though it wasn't known exactly what he would be up to, but it would soon be made clear that he had the NXT championship picture in mind. Holland is the number one contender for the NXT Championship after defeating Andre Chase last week to secure the number one contendership, as well as ending Chase U, and emerged to interrupt Williams' promo, during which he said Holland winning the title would spell the end of the brand. Holland said that Williams was right, but he didn't care about that or the fact that controversy followed him wherever he went. It was then that Bischoff appeared via satellite on the Titantron, saying he wanted to get a closer look at the pair and will be doing so next week, confirming his first appearance with the company since May last year. Tuesday will not be Bischoff's only appearance in wrestling scheduled for December, with the former Raw general manager also due to take creative control for a one-shot MLW appearance next Thursday. He said he'll be donating the entire paycheck for that event to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, a non-profit organization dedicated to the military and first responders who gave their lives for the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center. Now, speaking of Hall of Famers, we're also going to be getting another Hall of Fame appearance next week from WWE Hall of Famer Sean X-Pac Waltman, a member of the Clique. Now, as I mentioned, the Bischoff one came during the show, but additionally, Sean X-Pac Waltman took to Twitter/X to say that the December 3rd episode of NXT seemed too good to miss, so he was coming to watch the show live. It's not yet known what he's going to be doing or what's planned for him on the show. Of course, we get any more details, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, NXT gets closer to Deadline, which features, of course, the Iron Survivor Challenge matches. And Julia is headed to NXT Deadline in the Women's Iron Survivor match after defeating Kalani Jordan in a hard-fought battle on NXT Tuesday night. Jordan announced last week on the show that she wanted to face Julia in her qualifying match because to call herself the standout, she needed to face the best. Jordan started off the match with the upper hand. The woman traded pin attempts back and forth. Jordan went for a handshake and Julia took her up on it and nodded to the crowd. Then Jordan whipped her into the ropes. Julia went to the top rope and missed a missile drop kick as Jordan sidestepped her. Jordan went for her split-legged moonsault, but Julia got her knees up and countered into a submission hold. Jordan was able to stand up while Julia had it locked in and powerbombed her to the mat. The pair traded pinfall attempts again until Julia hit a Northern Lights bomb and got the victory. Julia joins Azaria, Stephanie Vacqua, and Sol Ruka in the match at Deadline. NXT General Manager Ava revealed backstage that next week, the fifth members of both the men and women's Iron Survivor matches will be determined in last chance qualifiers, both set to be fatal four-way matches. Now, Tony D'Angelo is still the NXT North American champion, coming off of his successful title defense against ECW legend Nunzio. NXT North American champion Tony D'Angelo met his next challenger on last night's episode of NXT. The challenger, of course, was a crafty 22-year veteran in Shawn Spears. Last week, D'Angelo faced Spears ally Brooks Jensen in a non-title singles match, and he ultimately emerged victorious. As an apparent show of respect, Spears extended his hand for D'Angelo to shake after the match. This turned out to be a ruse, however, as Jensen instead attacked the back of D'Angelo's knee. The effect of Jensen's attack carried over onto this week's NXT North American Championship match, with D'Angelo hobbling at various points and Spears repeatedly targeting his knee. Despite the pain, D'Angelo managed to fight through it and pin Spears for the victory after hitting a spinebuster. Much like last week, though, Jensen looked to attack D'Angelo from behind post-match. This time, though, D'Angelo saw him coming and subsequently laid both him and Spears out. D'Angelo's momentum was eventually spoiled by the unexpected appearance of Spears' new recruit, Nico Vance, who wiped out the NXT North American champion with a big clothesline before helping Spears and Jensen to their feet. Now, Fallon Henley, speaking of North American Championships, the Women's North American Championship retained her title. Last week, NXT Women's North American Champion Fallon Henley laid out an open challenge for any woman in the locker room to step up and face her for her title. Unsurprisingly, this motion sparked the arrival of multiple potential challengers, including Lash legend Shakara Jackson, Nikita Lyons, and Adriana Rizzo. It was Tatum Paxley, however, who avoided the ensuing brawl and secured her title shot by attacking Henley from behind. Fast forward to this week's episode of NXT, Paxley rocked Henley with a 450 splash towards the end of their title match. Ever the resilient competitor, Henley kicked out. Moments later, Fatal Influence member JC Jane attempted to clock Paxley as the referee wasn't looking, much like she recently did to Kalani Jordan. In this case, though, Paxley saw it coming and instead knocked Jane to the ground with a drop kick. Paxley then attempted her Psycho Trap finisher, only to have Henley evade it and nail her with a Famouser for the victory. Post-match, Henley, Jane, and Jasmine Nix began striking Paxley in a 3-on-1 beatdown. This prompted the NXT televised return of Gigi Dolan, who had previously been sidelined with a knee injury. Together, Dolan and Paxley faced off and fended off Jane and Henley, while Nix retreated to the outside. Dolan's resurgence was teased earlier on in the evening when Jane snatched one of Paxley's orange-haired dolls and threw it to the ground. Paxley didn't seem too bothered by the move, as she subsequently warned that your past will haunt you, seemingly alluding to when Jane shockingly turned on Dolan last year. Now, switching over to New Japan Pro Wrestling / AEW, because the Young Bucks match for Wrestle Dynasty has been confirmed. For the first time since 2019, the Young Bucks will be returning to Japan to be a part of the Wrestle Dynasty event at the Tokyo Dome on January 5th. It was originally believed that the AEW EVPs would be taking on the Dream Team of Kenny Omega and Hiroshi Tanahashi, but since Omega has now been confirmed to be facing New Japan Strong Openweight Champion Gabe Kidd, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson sent a special video to New Japan to announce they want to leave the Tokyo Dome with some gold. Quotes, "There's one thing that Matthew and Nicholas need to accomplish before we retire. That's get the IWGP heavyweight titles back around our waist once more time," Nicholas said, before Matthew interjected by saying, "Tokyo, your rich God-fearing uncles are coming back. See you soon." The only problem the Bucks have is that they won't know who they'll be facing until the day before Wrestle Dynasty. Current champions Haner and Great Khan are currently competing in New Japan Pro Wrestling's World Tag League Tournament, where they will face the winners of the tournament, if they don't win it themselves, at Wrestle Kingdom 19 on January 4. As Nicholas stated, the Bucks are no strangers to the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. They had their one and only reign with the titles back in 2018, defeating Evil and Sanada at that year's Dominion event, becoming the only second team in company history to win both the IWGP Heavyweight and Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Outside of the Bucks wanting more Tag Team gold, the Wrestle Dynasty card currently has Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd, Shota Umino versus Claudio Castagnoli, Jack Perry versus Yota Tsuji, and the International Women's Tournament Final, Tomohiro Ishii versus either Konosuke Takeshita or Shingo Takagi, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ricochet. Now, going back to NXT last night, Shawn Michaels had a bit of a physical altercation backstage. Now, there was a wild series of events during a backstage segment last night on NXT. After General Manager Ava announced some news regarding NXT Deadline, a series of events would lead to her potentially being injured. Ava initially gathered a group of talents to reveal to them the news that next week will feature 2 last chance 4-way qualifiers, as we mentioned, for the Iron Survivor Challenge matches at Deadline. The 4-ways will be made up of the losers of the initial qualifiers, meaning Ren Sinclair, Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, and Cora Jade for the women, Cedric Alexander, Lexis King, Eddie Thorpe, and Axiom for the men. Ava then separately spoke to Axiom and Nathan Fraser to announce that next week there'll be a tag team battle royal to determine their challenges for the NXT Tag Team Championships at Deadline. With the NXT tag teams all brawling uncontrollably in recent weeks, that continued into the area where Ava was having these discussions. Before she could leave, though, Eddie Thorpe wanted a word with her about something, which he's been trying to do for weeks, but once again, Ava told him she didn't have time. As Thorpe grabbed Ava by the wrist to get her attention, that moment led to her being hit by a door via the brawling tag teams, knocking her down. She was soon shown receiving medical treatment, accompanied by NXT booker Shawn Michaels. As Thorpe came to apologize, Michaels got mad and shoved Thorpe into a wall, berating him for putting his hands on Ava. Now, Ethan Page, he has qualified for NXT Deadline's Iron Survivor Challenge match. The 4th participant of the upcoming men's Iron Survivor Challenge at Deadline was determined during NXT. Joining the already established field of Javon Evans, Wesley, Nathan Fraser, Ethan Page advanced over Axiom as the penultimate entrant for the December 7 show. As I mentioned, this now means that Axiom will be in that last chance 4-way next week, but Ethan Page, the former NXT champion, is now officially qualified for the match. Now, over the weekend, we found out Kylie Rae was the latest person to be given a WWE ID contract, and now WWE has officially confirmed the former AEW and TNA wrestling star for the program. The WWE Independent Developmental Program is catching steam, with a wide variety of independent talent being signed since it began. At the November 21st freelance wrestling event, it was revealed that former AEW star Kylie Rae had become the latest recruit. On November 26th, the WWE ID X account officially confirmed Kylie Rae had been signed through the program. Of course, we get any more details on future people being signed to the program, we shall let you know. And finally, more details on Jade Cargill's legitimate injury. It looks like it will be a while before WWE fans see Jade Cargill back in the ring. The Women's Tag Team Champion was laid out backstage on the November 22nd edition of SmackDown, followed by WWE declaring that she sustained a number of injuries in the attack. In reality, Cargill has sustained a very real injury that will keep her out of action. And on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer speculated how long she'll be out, as well as why it's not been revealed exactly what injury Cargill has. Quote, "I was told 3 months minimum," Meltzer said. "The other thing is whatever the actual injury is being kept very secret, because I've heard from several people in the company who are aware of the injury, and they say not only do they not know what the injury is, but people who are very close to her don't even know what the injury is. But it is an injury, but for whatever reason, what the actual injury is not well known." Both Meltzer and co-host Brian Alvarez both believe that the actual injury is a torn meniscus, due to that being something that usually takes 3 months to recover from, and it being one of the things WWE said Cargill had sustained when she was attacked on SmackDown. Now, with Cargill out of action, a number of plans have had to be changed. Her upcoming place in the War Games match at Survivor Series has been taken by Bayley. Lash Legend has been named as her replacement in the Women's United States Championship tournament. And Meltzer also believes it will only be a matter of time before both Cargill and Belair are stripped of the Women's Tag Team Championships. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.